The Fertility Partnership is the final crystallization of a dream that I've had for a lot of years. I've been involved in the world of infertility for decades. In 1985 was my first opportunity to be involved in this, and it was really in its very beginnings. I ran down the hallway with eggs in my hand. I was still a medical student, and I was so excited and thought, wow. And years later, when I moved here to St. Louis, I began working in a program here with a very well-known fertility expert, and stayed there for 10 years, learned a tremendous amount, and you could say that's where I got my apprenticeship. The way it's done around the world, you spend a number of years with a doctor, and I learned quite a bit, and when I saw that there was really no further room for me to grow, I broke off. I was approached by another group, worked with them, learned a lot there, and then it was time for me to go and put my own direction to it. What I figured out, and it was very early in the career, was that there are people who get pregnant when others don't, and I didn't understand if everything matched up, why were some getting pregnant and why some weren't. And I felt it may have something to do with their attitude and their emotional well-being. One bright morning, I got a call about 6:30 in the morning from my partner, and he asked me to cover for him that he had an ovum pickup, or an egg retrieval, if you will, at 7, please show up. And I had a full day. I was annoyed. I didn't know anything about the patient. I showed up at the hospital, picked the chart up off the door, walked right into the room, and of course never bothered to look in the chart. And when I got there, I found a woman, African-American woman, sitting cross-legged, bolt upright on her gurney. And there was another gentleman sitting in the chair. He looked about 9 feet tall, and he was reading the newspaper like this. I couldn't even see him. And I walked in and said, "Hi guys, okay, my name is Dr. Simckes, and we're going to get some eggs." And she looked at me and said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Dr. Simckes. Your doctor hurt himself. I am covering for him." And she said, "Did you read my chart?" And I had to admit that I hadn't. And she said, "Well, if you had read, you'd seen this is our 6th attempt at IVF. And the only reason why we're even trying for a 6th time is because my husband over there plays in a major league sport." And I looked at him and I said, "Oof, yep, play of the week, last week, yep, I got it." And and they just looked at me like, "Why are you so optimistic and rosy?" Of course, I felt like an idiot, and I didn't know what to say, so I wanted to recoup, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have to come up with something, and I said, just intuitively, well, what's going to be different? Well, if you've done it 5 times, there's obviously one thing that we haven't done, and that is a whammy. You need a whammy. Have you had a whammy before? And she looked at me like, a whammy? And I said, you know, got to give you a whammy, right? If this is the 6th time that you need one. And the two of them looked at me, and I walked over to the gurney, and I put my hands on her head, and I'll jump to one of the caveats of the story is the fact that she's a preacher's daughter, and I'm a preacher's son. And by the time we were done, her hands were up in the air, and I had my hands on her head, and I was saying, "Do you feel like a green field in springtime? Can you see those flowers popping out of your head in rapid sequence photography?" And she said, "Yes, I do. I am." And she rolled down the hallway into the operating room with her hands up in the air and saying, "I can do this." And they had a little girl, and they actually, without giving away any HIPAA information, they named the little girl Elan, M-E-L-A-N. And it was just, I think, when I look back on it, I think that day that I was whammied, and not her so much. I was whammied because I realized then that there was something that is so difficult, so intangible in this whole process about people dreaming and believing so that they can conceive. And I wanted to build a program where people were going to go and feel like we're in it together and that you can do it. We're going to help you get that family, get that baby, and so that you can then have your family.